Hi everyone, I'm Echoes and I'm a VTuber, and I'll be going over episode 10 of Kaina of the Great Snow Sea. This episode isn't that eventful compared to I think the last one or so, as it mostly is taken up by the whole monster fight. Pretty much Atlan fighting against the Valghian monster, which is pretty much like some sort of old relic of the past. Aka, it's pretty much a mech, controlled by the Admiral guy, using some sort of special mask. So yeah. So what we start off is the reveal of the monster. It's called the Builder. And you can see that it could somehow, even when it's so big, it's able to stand on its own legs in the snow sea. It's hard to tell whether it's able to float a certain point or it's standing on the bottom of the ocean. So yeah, so it's not really alive because it is being controlled. You can see that the Atlan soldiers are trying to shoot it using their cannons, I guess. To pretty much no success. It seems to have very strong armor. And then you get a shot of Rirha, Yana, and Kaina all trying to get the map, the special map to Atlan's king, because it reveals the truth of the world. But yeah. So I skipped opening again. You can see that the monster is pretty much chucking the blockade that's preventing the ships getting through at Atland as projectiles. So yeah, it's pretty scary thing because it's seemingly indestructible. The normal weaponry can't really hurt it. So yeah. And then you see that these two, General Amalith and the cavalry captain, are still fighting as a way of like settling their duel. Don't really know why they're still fighting, but I guess it's like a pride thing. We're like, oh, we're leaders of our men, we gotta fight each other. Or just wanting to settle things, I guess. Fighting. Oh, this guy has some interesting thoughts. He says, I wonder what Amal's doing anyway. That and Amal's armor, ancient relics are surely powerful. So it confirms that the armor that General Amalith wears and that the mech are pretty much all relics that Valghian is using to their benefit in order to conquer countries for water. Then you see the group is trying to look for the king, and then the attendant is chipping in here in order to letting them know that he's at the watchtower, helping lead the guards. So he's kind of putting himself on the front line. You can see the mech is still throwing sticks. And then they're all trying to get there. And then about the evacuation, the civilians. Also, what's interesting here is that you see that it sort of feels like some sort of, I don't think it's meant for combat. It says prepare to throw. Right arm damaged. I don't know if it's meant to, it's a combat unit. I think people in the comments mentioned it could just be a labor focus unit based on how it's wording. It's like, it's not you could see like preparing to attack or something like that. It just, the phrasing doesn't feel particularly threatening, I guess. And you can tell it's generally pretty accurate. Oh yeah, also that the right arm being damaged matches the Admiral's right arm being damaged. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or not. And then here you can see that Rirha is separated from her brother and Kaina because of the projectile. So they sort of have to go their own ways. And then pretty much Valghian to get through because their defenses are breached. So nothing's stopping them. King didn't know that they had a monster. These two are still fighting. And you see that these two are helping save someone because they hear a call for help. This guy's stuck on the rubble. And Kaina's using his laser tool to cut through the pillar. And they save this dude. And then you see that here's where Yana separates himself from Kaina because he has to take care of the injured civilian. So yeah. And also because Kaina's the only one who could actually read, so he's kind of important here. Yeah, especially since how it's Mech is delivered. So yeah, so it's definitely some sort of, I think, a labor unit that usually is used for carrying heavy objects. But yeah, but here it's used as a weapon. And here, the Admiral notices Viraha trying to get to her father. So then he goes to the watchtower where her father's on the top. Watch his father die before his eyes. He's just being an ass, I guess. Here he throws a part of the roots of the orbital trees and chucks it at her. Man, this guy is just such a... Oh, he's such a menace. And you see that she's trying to pray to the sage for help. And then she kind of gets it because light appears before her. And you see it kind of floating up. But yeah, it's somehow listening to her, which I think people in the comments are mentioning that it could be some sort of like control unit. Kind of like how the Admiral is using a max to control the mech. She's using the necklace to control the light a little bit. Not that she can really control it much, but she's at least able to command it a little bit. And you see it went into the water and sort of rises up at this huge pillar of like water, which is kind of interesting. And the people call it the what's the word? Yeah, you can see that the light's glowing on the very top. And yeah, so yeah, and they call it the Ascender. So yeah, it looks like it's supposedly called the Guardian of Atlan for whatever reason. Maybe it's something that in the past has somehow protected the country in some way. Well, I remember people also thinking that it could be something that's used to control water levels, as it's, it's like literally a pillar of water. Guardian that protects people of the orbital spire tree, save our nation. Because it's not really a defensive unit or anything. Creature that rules the snow sea. A lot of myths. Sunder. Senator, not anything tonight will pay. So this guy goes out his way and destroys. It's literally a column of water, so kind of makes sense. You see that it's falling. And they're like, what is this? Because they've never experienced rain before. Because somehow the Ascender is able to draw out the hidden water in the ocean, and then sort of pull it out, I guess. So I guess that's why it's important, because water is such a precious resource. It's somehow able to take the water from the ocean itself. And then, but I think the best thing it does is that even though it doesn't really fight or anything, it's able to slightly inhibit the monster's movements, especially since there's a little more errors than before. Operating error and visual error weren't there before. You can see here is where he pretty much grabs hold of the ship and then also chucks as a projectile. It explodes on contact at the people that were shooting cannons at it. And you see that the admiral here is actually like turns to face her. So it's kind of creepy how like it's like locked on to her movements. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, we didn't really get that much interesting content this time around, especially since like I think we only have about 2 or 3 episodes left, especially since April's coming up. But yeah, I think also I've heard that after this anime, there'll probably be a movie to kind of tie up loose ends. So I think that makes sense, since the anime, at least at its pace, it's kind of can't cover the whole story from what I can tell. But yeah, overall kind of interesting. We get a little bit of hints on what light is. It's some sort of tool, I think, that could be controlled by a necklace. And it becomes a center, which is a big pill of water. Bit of the monster just chucking things and just being a menace. And then the group being separated. So yeah, we'll just see how things play out next time and whether things actually improve, because currently they're definitely at a disadvantage. They're not doing well at all. So so we'll see whether they could pull themselves out of this peril. All right. Thank you so much and have a good rest of your day. Take care.